Yeah, we are a people enslaved and sold, scattered through the earth. Jacob is calling his children 12 tribes, so we want go. Oh, children, home, oh, to Zion, oh, wanna go, take me there, home, oh, to Zion, oh, wanna go, yeah. We've been trodden from Genesis right on through Revelation. We've been a subject to Master's feet, so blick, so we wanna go. Oh, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, and Zebulun, Isaac, Dan, Gad, and Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, and Benjamin. 12 tribes, so we want go. Oh, children, home, oh, to Zion, oh, I wanna go. Oh, children, home, oh, take me home, oh, I wanna go, yeah.
Good evening, Dominica, the Caribbean region, and the rest of the world, and welcome to another episode of Roots Connections on Q, right here on Q95, the big station. It is always wonderful to be in your company as we continue to explore the perennial question of how do we as Dominicans at home and abroad and friends of Dominica, how do we move Dominica forward, especially as it relates to economic opportunities, and what role can each one of us play in this process? Because whether we are calling on the radio or posting on Facebook about DAMLAG, the electricity crisis we are now facing in Dominica, or we are joining an organization, a group, at home or overseas, we all have one mission in common, and that is advancing Dominica in some way. Because, and someone will remind me, which was the minister who said Dominica is last in everything? So we are certainly tired of Dominica being last in everything. So this is why we are so grateful to have the opportunity to bring you this program where we can work on building our own economy and advancing Dominica in so many ways. So again, whether you're joining us from Dominica, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world, welcome to the program. Here on Roots Connections, we continue to stand in solidarity with those on the front line who are doing the work to secure the freedom, the democracy, and all the other rights that we are fighting for in Dominica. But just as important, we also stand in solidarity with those who recognize that in order to effect change, the change that we are seeking in Dominica, Dominicans must be financially independent so that they can be free to make other decisions, such as who they will elect to govern them. So again, welcome to Roots Connections. I see we're already live on Facebook. So we're live on Facebook at Q95 FM radio, as well as Push Past 10. I see Doc Paris is already here joining us on the Facebook. So good evening to you. I'm Doc Paris. It is great to have you here. So again, welcome to Roots Connections. This is episode number 55 for today, September 27th, 2023. And I am your host, Simone Mathieu. So we are exploring the topics, we're exploring the strategies for building Dominica's economy. And today we have a powerful program for you. We are looking at over 200 missed job opportunities. What is the way forward with the cannabis industry in Dominica. What are the changes that are needed to capitalize on this billion-dollar industry? So we're very happy to be joined by two very special guests. We have Mr. Elvis Papi Edwards. Many of you will know his name. He's the most fashionable man on Facebook. But he is so much more than a fashionista, and he will tell us more about who he is and what he does. And we also have a young man who is very passionate about Dominica's economy, Mr. Ricardo St. Amy. He has joined us before, but he's back again because he is so passionate about the economy and what can we do to build our economy. So again, thank you again for joining us here on Roots Connections on Q. And as a matter of fact, let us ask them to open their mics and ask them to give us another bit of an introduction, just a little bit about who they are and where in Dominica they were born and raised. So Mr. Elvis Papi Edwards, thank you for being here, sir, and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and just some quick information before we get started.
Yes, I am Elvis Edwards, and I'm from Wesley. I was born in Wesley, grew up in Calibishi. I went to school in Calibishi. But I grew up more in Wesley, per se, because when it comes to like my background in cannabis, I get all the secret from my dad. So I would say Wesley and Calibishi was my home growing up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Richie, I know you need no introduction, but just tell us a little bit about you.
Well, as you guys know, I'm Richie Ricardo. I am from Wesley. I have I have a business in Dominica, Northeastern Funeral Association, and I also have a business here in the States, which is Black Star Freight. I transport goods from state to state, and I also do Black Star Residential, which I fix homes and stuff like that. So kind of busy guy all the time.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you for joining us on this very important program, because as I mentioned in the beginning of the program, we are struggling. We hear the stories of Dominicans struggling every day. And yes, we know we are fighting these other battles. We know that a number of people are not exactly happy with the selection process for the president today. So we have all these battles, but I always think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. So we can fight these battles, but yet we can still engage people and encourage them to create their own financial opportunities, because that is how we will move Dominica forward. So again, thank you. We are live on Q95 FM radio, as well as Q95 FM radio on Facebook and YouTube, and on Push Past 10 as well. Don't forget, for the best in programming, Q95DA.com. Remember, when you sign on to the Facebook page, please go ahead and share the live. Let everyone know that we are here at Q95DA.com, of course, for daily programming, as well as any past programs. Our last program, we talked about best practices in hospital healthcare, so you will want to take a look at that. We remain grateful for Mr. G and the Q95 family for allowing us this platform where we can come and talk about advancing Dominica. So as we get the program off and started, and again, if you're just joining us, we are talking about over 200 missed job opportunities. What is the way forward with the cannabis industry in Dominica? So I want to get started with you, Elvis, because, you know, cannabis, hemp, we hear all these different terminologies. But even before we get started with your particular journey, just give us some definition so we can differentiate between marijuana, cannabis, hemp, and the like. So give us a couple of explanations on these particular terms. That would be helpful.
Well, you know, growing up in Dominica, especially, growing up marijuana, first of all, I didn't even know they had different strain in cannabis, right? I didn't, because most times people just grow weed, right? Mm-hmm. It's after I came in Colorado, after Denver passed the law, I realized, wait a while, in 2014, they passed the cannabis law, and I didn't realize there was different strain, right? I didn't know nothing about CBD, I didn't know nothing about indica. I didn't know nothing about sativa, right? So I was blown away when I mean, my dad used to make cannabis tea, right? And if he gets sick, he used to make bush tea, I mean, with cannabis for everybody, right? But I didn't know how depth cannabis can be to help all kind of disease. So I mean, I know that my dad was in the cannabis. So living in Colorado, I never smoked in my life. I never tried cannabis in my life, but I know it's good for medication purposes. So I decided to contact some doctors I know and said, I want to do some research on this thing, right? So me, very inquisitive and the business mind I am, I said, okay, let me do some research on this thing. Well, come to find out, there is something they call CBD, right? THC, right? And I mean, and even for my own brand, right? There's CBD, there's different strength, right? And I went, wait a while. This is what my dad was doing all the time, is using those products to heal people. So I decided I'm going to check it out. So, but I always tell people I don't want to use the strain that make people get high, use the THC, right? So I didn't want to use any things that can get people high. So I realized there's CBD that can really help you with different disease, different pain, I mean, even for your skin. So I said, okay, well, let me call my doctor and do some research. And he told me that, he doesn't know if he can do the research in the school because he was a teacher at the college. So he said he have to do it on his break. So he have to do some research and do some testing. So he told me, you know what? If you want to meet every weekend, we can discuss about the cannabinoid in the cannabis. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay. So I was the first person in Colorado to come up with a hemp-based skincare. Mm-hmm. And nobody actually, people didn't even know you could use this for your skin when I did it in 2014. Right?
Yeah, and we want to look at that, but let us stay on the important properties of cannabinoid. So tell us, what are some of the properties in this particular plant which makes it so important and makes it so versatile? So you talked about your dad using it to make teas, but what are the healing properties? What are the effects? Why is this particular plant so important? So tell us some more about the effects, the medicinal and other important properties of this particular plant.
Well, you have indica and sativa, right? So the indica it have a higher content of CBD, right? So the indica now, because the indica is a male and a female, right? But I don't really like to call it male and a female. It's just one have a different properties, like benefits. So the sativa have a more higher THC than the indica, right? So the indica strain, it can use for chronic pain, appetite, and anxiety, right? So if you have any, like people that have cancer that have no appetite, you can use indica for that. People that want to lose, because most times when you have cancer, first thing gone is appetite, right? So you can use the indica strain for you to eat, right? And also it's good for different, I mean, because sometimes people want to use cannabis product and they work for the government, right? So they want to get tested for the THC. So that's why sometimes we have a strain just for the CBD, and we remove the THC from most of our products, and we have only CBD in it. So so this, yeah.
Right. Now, Ricardo, let me come to you. So what I'm going to do, Elvis, I'm going to come back to you so you can tell us, what made you qualify to even get into this industry? So I want you to tell us a little bit about your background as well. But let me ask you to mute your mic just a little bit and go over to Ricardo. So, Richie, do we know, with the exception of marijuana being grown in Dominica, do we know if there's any opportunities right now that we are using cannabis in any way, in any products on the island to create that industry that we're talking about?
Well, I don't know specifically of any industry at the moment. Mr. Elvis wanted to do an industry in the island and he got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as us doing something, there's a lot of stuff that we can do on the island
Mm-hmm.
as far as growing cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
There's an illegal trade of cannabis on the island, but as far as a legal trade of it, there's nothing legal that I know of that is being done on
Yeah,
island.
because as far as we know that the government has legalized, what is it, a couple of ounces that the young men have now taken to smoking. But other than that, we don't really have an industry to really speak about when we see other islands like Barbados, for example, taking advantage of the cannabis industry. So would you say that legalization would be the first step in order to create that industry in Dominica?
I think legalization would.
Okay, I
It was
think.
done in the wrong. It was done with the wrong ideology.
Hmm. And we know you're on your way home,
Apologizing
so we're
for
going
the
to be
lightning.
patient because we can't really see you.
It was it was done with the wrong ideology.
Hmm.
I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. So go ahead and set yourself up, Richie, and we'll come back to you. So just mute your mic for a minute while you're getting organized. I know you're on your way home, so thank you for being here. So Elvis, let me come back to you in the meantime. What made you qualify for getting into this industry? So tell us a little bit about your background. What did you do before all of this? And unmute your mic, please.
Well, I will tell you, right? Um, I'm always inquisitive. I never went to school. Like I never went to school in Dominica. So I learn as I go, right?
Mhm.
And I think the best thing I ever did is never get an education in Dominica, because I think if I get an education in Dominica, I would have come in America and maybe figure out something that I study for. But I didn't learn. I went to night school. I went to library. I teach my own self, right?
Mm.
But yeah, I was inquisitive. I had what you call it, ADD. So I'm always good in sports. So I'm always active and always want to learn, right? So when I left Dominica, I never know how to read and write. I mean I know to read, but I never know. So I teach myself, right? So it was just something I know my dad was always into. I grew up with the plants, you know what I mean? And that's why I grew up with CBD and aloe vera in my backyard. So I was inquisitive why everybody in Dominica have an aloe tree, right?
Mm.
And why all the Rastaman have a ganja tree.
Mhm.
It's something that, and I know my dad always, he never been to a doctor. The first time my dad went to doctor, he never came out, right? So my dad doesn't, I mean, he have asthma, but he never gets sick to say, hey, I'm sick, take me to doctor.
Mhm.
Everything that, every time he gets sick, he know what to do, you know what I mean? And growing up and watching him make his own medicine, like medicine from plants, I knew there was something in there that can heal people, not just smoking, right? Although he was a big, although he was a big smoking guy, but when it come to making medicine, he always boiled the tea. You know what I mean? So I knew there was different purposes, different healing, different way to get it in your body.
Yeah, and you know, you speak so very well of the importance of being inquisitive, right? Because here you were, a young boy growing up in Dominica, you know, a lack of formal education, but you
Yep.
observed. And
Yes.
you know, the
Yep.
Rasta men have been right in so
So
many
many.
ways.
So
The
we put so
Rasta
much. Yes.
men that we, you know, looked down on many times when we
Yes.
were growing up, they were right in so many ways. And we
Yep.
want to give them credit for, despite the challenges that they faced, you
Yep.
know, they continue to investigate marijuana and the properties that were important beyond just simply getting high. So let's continue with your journey. So you got to the US.
Mm-hmm.
Did you obtain formal education at this point? What was your journey when you got to the
Actually,
US?
I went to Antigua and I was good in sports, right? I was in West Rangers in Marigot in Wesley, right? So I had a couple of coaches. Actually, they're still coaching. So so I went to Antigua for Carnival, and I met with the back then Prime Minister son, I got in the right set of people, right?
Right.
And they said, hey, we hear Dominican have a lot of fast runners, and there's a meet in Antigua. Do you want to go and join? And because people said, oh, this guy is very fast, so I was like, okay, I will join. So I joined the Antigua team, right? And when I start to run in Antigua, I never lose. I never lose. I was running with no shoes, nothing, and I never lose a race, right?
Wow.
And the Prime Minister in Antigua back then, VC Bird, his people said, "Hey, can you run for Antigua?" And I said, "Why not? Why not?" So they gave me a visa to go and train for the Olympics.
Wow.
So I tell my coach, that visa I'm getting, I'm not gonna come back. I'm gonna train, but I am not gonna come back, right?
Wow.
He said, dude, you are Dominican. Who cares? You don't want to come back and run for Antigua. So that's how I get to America, is running, right?
Wow.
And it was just blessing and blessing and blessing. So anyway, I came to Colorado, and when I came here, it was cold and snowy, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do in this country, right? So I had a girlfriend who lived here, you know what I mean, and she became my wife. So we had a little girl, and she's 20 right now. Anyway, she's an amazing daughter, and yeah. So I always, when I came here, I get to a library, and my fiance back then, she was a teacher, right? So she used to teach me little things, and when she come home and teach me how to read and write and do maths and read books. But I always want to read the book, how America was established, who create light, who create this, invent this. So I'm always want to invent. I don't know where this comes from, because I never went to school for business, right?
Right.
But is the book I read is like, I want to see who invent different things. You know what I mean? So that's what I read.
that natural curiosity again.
Yes, I started
Right.
reading about invention, and you have to file a patent, and you have to do all this. I was like, wait, this is this is new for me. So I started to invent things. You know what I mean? I started inventing. Yes. So, and as I said, the people that know me in America, they know that I am a guy. If you don't hear from me, it's because I'm working on something. Because so cannabis was just something that clicked, right? Because the cannabis had a stigma in Dominica saying, oh, you're going to be just like a dad. You're going to be a nobody. Actually, my teacher called me the other day and told me I was the person that will more likely to do good in sports and likely to fail in education.
And you proved them wrong.
But not even that, he told me, Dominica couldn't diagnose you because he knew that I had a learning problem, but there was no way to help me, because I was good in sports. I was ADD, but I wasn't good at nothing else. You know what I mean? I was just because the teacher didn't have time to wait for me. You know what I mean? Because
Elvis, you're unpacking so much right now with this conversation, because you're also speaking to the need we have in Dominica to recognize our young people's unique talents without trying to put them in a box of education. And it is unfortunate that in 2023, we're still seeing that a lot of times, if students are not academically inclined, there are really no other opportunities for them to have a productive life. So I think you're showing us that you're an important role model for children in Dominica who are not academically inclined, but can still create that path to success. So tell us about your first initial step into cannabis, when you realized that this was going to take off.
Okay, so the first thing I did, right, my hand wasn't in the cannabis itself. I invented a hoodie, right? Because I said, I don't want to touch cannabis. And I said, no, I don't want to touch it, because everybody told me, you're going to be like a dad. Your dad is nobody. He's a wayward, you know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I'm going to show people I am not going to touch cannabis. Because it was a taboo in Dominica, right? So I create a hoodie. It's called Vaporware, where you can smoke again, I make that hoodie, right, for the veterans that come from the war in Iraq that could use the cannabis, but sometimes they paralyze, right? So I invented a hoodie. So if you paralyze, you can you can take your cannabis, your like your medicine from your hoodie, because most of them is in a wheelchair, and that's the reason I really make that make. I was helping veterans, right, from the war. So I create a hoodie. You could take your cannabis from your hoodie without even touching anything, and that was my purpose of making that hoodie. But then I patented it for 20 years. But then it gets so big, right? After I made that hoodie, I was in the X Games, so we launched in Aspen, and I'm telling you, my phone crashed after it launched because everybody in America wanted a hoodie. Right? So I was on BuzzFeed, I was on Dateline, I was everywhere talking about this hoodie, and I realized I just create something huge. So it just take off from there. But my goal was not to touch cannabis still because I was still scared of it, right? But then again, is after I run into my business partner now, a doctor, he told me about, hey, there's a lot of stuff in this cannabis that is can help people. Since I saw your hoodie and I think we should do something with it. And because everybody was using cannabis, but it was the wrong way. They were smoking it, you know what I mean? And I was like, there's so many ways you can use cannabis without smoking it. So I decided to do my own research and see the benefits of cannabis. And what I realized, America owned a patent for cannabinoid. America owned a patent for THC. America owned a patent for for all this cannabis strain. And I was like, why America owned all? I mean, why America owned this? It must be something that even there that they own it. Because I like to do my research and I love to see who owned this and who owned that. And when I saw America owned the patent for cannabinoid, I said this is something that I need to go to.
Yeah, and
So
hold that thought. Hold that thought. Let me go over to Ricardo. I see that you're all set up, so thank you again for joining us. Now, I want to go back to something Elvis said, Richie, because I think it is so important, and we have to keep pushing this topic until it gets done. The lack of opportunity for young people in Dominica who are not academically inclined. What are your thoughts on that? Because now we are looking at Elvis and saying how far he has gone with being successful despite not necessarily being academically inclined. So what are your thoughts, Richie? How can we finally get past this notion? Because I've been doing this program for over 2 years, and that is one of the things that I talk about all the time, and I know I'm not the only one who talks about it. But how can we get past being stuck on this thing that success means you have to be academically inclined?
Well, it's our parents used to did us a little bit of injustice when they used to tell us, if you don't do good, I'm gonna send you to the farm. If you don't do good, I'm gonna make you go in garden. You know?
Yes.
So that was a bad notion for us as growing up as kids and growing up on even some of us to this day we do that to our kids now.
yep.
So it's a stigma that we have to break out of. And I believe that if we start re-educating ourselves, even as adults, and re-educating our whole ideology and making people know that going to the farm is not taboo, because in America a lot of people farm. They,
Right.
people leave Dominica and come to America to pick apples, to pick cabbages, to do all kinds of farm work. And that's where the money is. I believe that going back to the soil is where the money is. And if we utilize industries like cannabis, capitalize on our rich soil, and but again, we're not thinking about empowering our people. We're only thinking about empowering ourselves
So,
as
yep.
as leaders, you know. So who cares about what Elvis doing on the side of the road? We got Elvis smoke weed, man. We legalize you a tree ounce you can have for yourself, and then we still come back and take it back from you later on when you grow more than 3 ounces. You know, so it's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
about.
and then my question is always who's monitoring how much these guys are actually smoking? You
You
know,
understand
on
me?
a practical note, it is completely impractical to say, oh, you can only have, because who's going around Dominican monitoring how much they're smoking? So it's a
No, they're
recipe for
monitoring it.
disaster.
They're monitoring it because they know who they're looking for and seeing who's growing, so they can now come and attack you. You know what I'm saying?
And
It's
Richie,
a trap.
and Richie, I didn't realize it's after I left Dominica and I proposed my idea to the government. They went and do that. This yeah,
Mm-hmm.
is the and because the plants. Let me tell you, right? And I'm reading about Dominica, about Dominic, and about water, right? I am not in 2018. If that government had taken my business plan and implement it at Ross University, right? And make Portsmouth, just Portsmouth, legalize Portsmouth, and you have to be 18 and over, okay? Let's say to even 21 and over to even touch cannabis or even to even take CBD. And my plans were so big, guys. We would have buy a generator for every we would have buy a generator for every
Farmer.
Yes.
every
And,
village.
and Elvis, let us have this conversation right now because
Yes,
I want to
yes.
talk about everything else that you're involved in.
Okay.
But our concern is always the investment for Dominica. So let us have this conversation
By,
right now.
by the
Let us
way,
just
by the way, let me
yes.
say good afternoon, good morning, Dominicans. I love you guys. Dominica, I love you. It's funny that I'm coming on Q95 for the first time when we have a new president, I guess.
Oh yes, new president elect.
Okay.
President.
President elect. She hasn't been sworn in yet.
Well, she's in. Anyway, so it's
Yes,
funny that anyway, it's funny, and I heard we have sandflies. I heard we have no water. I heard we have no
yes, yes.
electricity.
Yes,
Um,
So Elvis, let us talk about the
yes.
plan that you had,
Okay.
that you
So
proposed to Dominica, and
okay.
Richie. I want your feedback as well
Okay.
as
Mhm.
Elvis is talking because
Yes.
that is what we're here for. You know, we are
Okay.
very proud of everything Elvis has done, but like many of us Dominicans, when we become successful, the first thing we think of doing is giving back to where we come from, right?
Yes.
So Elvis,
Yes.
tell us
Okay.
what was your proposal? When
Okay.
did you
Well,
make that proposal? What it
and
included and what
okay,
happened?
guys, so I need about 10, 20 minutes. I'm gonna go in depth.
Yes.
So let me and if anybody want the contract I sent to the Prime Minister office, they can have it. I will make it available for everybody to read. You keep on saying 200 jobs, but I will say 20,000 jobs. Not 200, 20,000, right? So I went to the Prime Minister, I think it's 2000, late 2018, I think, or 2000, yeah, late 2018, 19, to 19, somewhere there, with my business people. From I had the investment, I had the backing, I had the lawyers, I had everybody in Colorado that make the law, the lawyers, everybody. I went to the Prime Minister in Dominica. I said, hey, we are here for a contract. It could be 50 years, 100 years. We want Ross University because Ross been sitting there for how many years? We want to make Ross the center of cannabis research in the world. If you go to America, they have the FDA, and you cannot, even though you find any testing, you can even publish it because they'll stop you. I have all the doctors, I have everybody is ready to come to Dominica. We can even bring students to the research. We can bring doctors to the research. We can bring scientists to the research of cannabis. They have no, they have no kind of barrier, right?
Yeah, no FDA.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
But not even that. We will buy because everybody was in financial problems with was gone. Everybody I talked to in Portsmouth, either the bank is calling them, or either the bank has already took the building. My proposal to them to the government, we will come in and we will buy everything from the bank or buy it from the owners and make it a school, make it a research center, and not even that, give us the license to open shops so people can come in and get cannabis treatment for cancer, get cannabis treatment for chronic pain, for any disease they have, for anything they have. They will come to Dominica, open it for the French countries to come in, open it for the Caribbean to come in. They can come in, but just possible, not hold the Dominica, and we will hire 5,000 farmers because we have, I say, and then every 3 months or every 6 months, we'll hire a different 5,000 farmers. So if somebody cannot plant, we will pay everybody with the tax revenue, right? So if this farmer can plant this year, we'll still pay him.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody win. So nobody get jealous, right? Let's say Wesley plant this in the last 6 months, because it takes every 3-4 months for a first harvest, right? 3 months.
About 4 months for harvest.
Yeah, for the first harvest. So if Wesley plant this harvest, which Wesley plant, then Cannabis Industry, then so different village can have that, but we'll hire 5,000 farmers, right? And we will make Dominica be the center of the world when it comes to cannabis, because I saw it happen in Colorado. Right now, even though Denver was the first and not the only state that have cannabis, everybody still come here for cannabis because it's like a tourist. They come in here like a tourist destination to get cannabis and then there was the first. When there's something when you have the first, people love the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dominica would have been the first when it comes to cannabis research, cannabis studies, cannabis hotels, cannabis farms. And they took my plan, they took my idea, and they said, yes, they will consider it. And next thing I know, I'm hearing a guy coming from Europe with a plane, coming from Dominica to plant marijuana because he have authorization to plant. And I was like, what nonsense is this? You know what I mean? I came in Dominica with a good plan. My plan is being sold or whatever, give it away and for different people. And now I'm hearing Ross have 18 students studying and nobody's benefiting.
9 students. Nine.
Sorry, 9 students. And when we could have made Ross the center of cannabis world, right? To do some research, and people would come to Dominica to get treatment, and I'm telling you, it would have been 100,000 people by now coming to Dominica for treatment, for recreation, coming for everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Elvis. Richie, your thoughts, because I think what Elvis is saying is so important, because what happens is you see the ripple effects of an industry like that. So it is not just the sale of the cannabis. It is not just the smoking, it's not just the medicinal purposes, but other industries. And we always talk about that Nature Island brand. That Nature Island brand that we can build an entire economy surrounding. So, Richie, your thoughts on fringe industries and youth employment, other opportunities which could have come, and that is why Elvis is saying it's not 200 jobs, it's 20,000 jobs. So, other fringe benefits, Richie, that could have emerged from this opportunity.
Well, okay. Like he said, hotels would benefit from this. Young people would benefit from it. The entire island would benefit from this activity. But our people, I saw you raise your hand, Elvis.
Richie, and I was thinking we would have a scholarship program so no kids left behind, because I'm very passionate about education, because I know that I didn't get one in Dominica. So now we're hearing kids is in school. You know how crazy it is for you to start school and cannot finish? That might set somebody in depression.
Mm-hmm.
That might set somebody suicidal. That might set somebody to do things that maybe you know how Dominicans don't know what is going to happen to those kids. Embarrassment, you know what I mean? Feel like you're no one. I mean, is Dominican know what is happening? By the way, is this kids? Are they back in Dominica? Are they?
Well, you know, I've been trying to reach out to them, and of course, for anyone who's less familiar with what Elvis is talking about, he's talking about the fact that a lot of students from Grambling State University and my alma mater, Midwestern State University, have had to cancel their classes and were given a deadline to return to Dominica because they were on government scholarships and the government has not paid millions of dollars. And unfortunately, despite all the years that the students have invested in their education, they are now forced to return to Dominica. And the unfortunate part about it is the students are not willing to talk publicly because they still anticipate that they will be able to receive the funding to potentially go back to school. Because like you said, I cannot imagine a more frustrating and depressing thing, having gone to Midwestern State myself, than to invest all these years and then not receive a degree, not be able to secure a job because a scholarship that I was promised was not executed. So you are right that could have been a source of funding as a scholarship for the students.
Because
so
I said,
go ahead.
Because I was going to say, our plan was to take care, to have we would always put money aside and send about 10 scholarships every year, maybe even 20 every year. Because since Colorado passed the cannabis law in 2014, every year, $400 million every quarter. So think about it.
400 million, you said 400 million.
Yes, they make every year. Wow. And that's every quarter. That's not a year, every quarter. Right?
Yeah, it's a $1 billion industry. It's a $1 billion industry.
And for 2014 to 2023, Dominica would have been Dubai with oil. Every kid, even before they're born in Dominica, could have 10,000 invest under the name because of this cannabis industry. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Richie.
Yes, go ahead, Richie.
Well, I'm just reading a comment here. It's saying that according to a letter I read yesterday, Grambling is allowing the students/government one last chance to make their payment this semester.
Wow.
So
we're grateful for that.
Well, I'm very grateful.
It's grateful, but what I'm saying is we have 3 schools in the United States that has refused our students at this very moment due to lack of payment from our government. And that's an embarrassing situation, a very embarrassing situation for our island, for our people, as you said, for the students who could possibly go into depression due to the lack of them having to go back to Dominica to do what? To sit down and watch who? Not let me say you're going back to Dominica and getting a little job or something where you could, keep yourself active and motivate you back yourself, but going back home to just sit down. There is no job opportunities. There's nothing there to be done when we could have had an industry which could have generated good amount of money annually, or quarterly, however we would want to put the lead, and people would have something to come back to. But we have nothing. We have no lights. We have no water. I don't know what's going on there.
And Elvis is right. Elvis is right, because I know that is the thought process that 99% of students who go away to study, they're thinking, this is my opportunity to stay out of Dominica because there are no opportunities. But if we had something like a cannabis industry where the jobs were plentiful, the opportunities were plentiful, I would love to go right back home, because who doesn't want to be in sun and sea and rivers and waterfalls all day long? Well, now we don't have Dominic, so I don't know about that.
And let me tell you, right? I'm gonna predict something on the air tonight. But let me tell you, right? Half of the doctors in America, right, is interested of cannabis research. I mean, I sent you an article of the #1 cannabis research she was working on on his brain. You know what I mean? A surgeon, right? She was
And we're
looking
gonna
at
have her
different.
on. We're gonna bring her on.
I'm gonna bring it on for you guys. She is the number one doctor on cannabis research, cannabinoids, the nervous system, how it works. She is the number one in the world. She's my friend. She is telling me she's willing to move to Dominica and open a clinic, a research center for the whole entire world. She told me, Elvis, you are my. I sent you it. She sent me her number, even her address, and we talk. And you see me and her in my car, and this lady, and she loved me so much. She's like, Elvis, read the text. Let's change the world, right? She said, let's change the world, and she wants to start in Dominica. But I'm going to predict something in Dominica right now. I want to say, Dominicans right now, change is coming. Not with this government, after this government. Every village will have not a generator, but solar system. Every village will be have good schools. Every village with cannabis, right? I want to predict something saying cannabis is not, well, I'll say,
Taboo.
too late to do in Dominica, because no other country in the Caribbean is doing what my business plan is. Lennox Linton is ready. Jason Fountain is ready, right? Any of those two leaders, they are ready to bring in new investment, new faces, new body, new minds. Because these minds that they right now, it's like three blind mice.
Right, because even when you talk, Elvis, about this lady who's doing brain research surrounding cannabis, and she's ready to move to Dominica, I get excited, but then the next thing we obviously think about are all the obstacles that are going to be put in her way to make this impossible, and it's sad that we have to think like that.
No. It wouldn't happen under this government. This government is out. They're going out. This government is, I give them 5-7 months. This government is going out, okay? This, we are going to get, and I don't care if it's Leonard Clinton or something, right? They both are ready, and I have the investors. I have them. I have the doctors, I have the investors, and I have the mind people to do everything, all right? So we are not going to sell them passport, because passport is selling your birthright, right? And you will never sell your birthright, right? I am telling you, the people that I am talking to, Dominica is in a place right now that isn't good. It's like Dubai with oil, right? You know what I mean? You control the price. You know what I mean? We control, and forget about international airport. It's not going to, it's not going to build, guys. Forget about, because the passport is done. Right? The only thing else that is there is cannabis, and this government is not into. By the way, I saw one of the ministers building some kind of resort. By the way, and that wasn't my business plan, you know. But you cannot build a resort with other people. What are you gonna do? You're going to grow yourself. Are you going to produce yourself? And people are going to break into this because they're going to say, why this guy is making all this money and we are poor? You have to create jobs for people. You can't create jobs for yourself.
Right. And you know, Elvis and Richie, that's why I get so incensed and so outraged when I hear government ministers say, if not CBI, then what?
What? Yes.
When we look at all the folks who have come on this program and have talked about the industries we can build, the economies we can build for Dominica, if we just allow people the space, the opportunity, the access to be able to do what they need to do to grow the economy. It makes you think that the lack of interest is a political strategy. I hate to say it, but that is how it comes across, that the preventing people from having an opportunity is to keep them dependent. And that is why at the beginning of this program, I always say that, yes, we have the other battles to fight, But we also have to keep building our own independent economy, because
Yep.
when people are financially stable, they can make other choices. But I want us to already get into the businesses you have created, Elvis, because
Yes.
that is going to show us the missed opportunities. And Facebook, I'm seeing your comments. Thank you so much for being there. Hey, Miss Badoui, Badwell. So I'm going to come and take your comments, and our callers get ready. We'll take your calls in about 10 minutes, but we want to look at
Yes.
some of the businesses that
Okay.
Elvis has created and how these are missed opportunities for Dominica. So Elvis, go ahead, and Richie, feel free to chime in.
Okay. First of all, I'm holding three products, right? Three products with my hand right there. I have the CBD capsule, and I have the CBD sunscreen, and the CBD moisturizer. Guys, I want to tell you right now, all these products could be making in Dominica right now. I am the only person in the world that have FDA approval to make a sunscreen made from cannabis. No one else can do it. No one.
Repeat that, Elvis.
I am the only person in the world that have a hemp approved sunscreen. It took me a lot of time, a lot of research, and you don't. First of all, people told me it can never be done, never been done, and I said, watch me, because they know me. I don't take no for nonsense. So I get the great minds, and I'm holding the first. You can see it right there, CBD and aloe vera sunscreen, and this right here, right? People complain about sunfly and the bites and about the backs and the sore. Guys, you can get this in Dominica right now. This is good for any kind of sunfly bites. If you get rashes, if you want to know about aloe vera, the benefits of aloe vera, you will see it's a healing product, guys. Inflammation, and it has CBD in it too. So I have. This might be in about 5 locations in Dominica. It's in Calibishi, it's in Bullseye Pharmacy, it's in Wesley, different Calibishi is by Austria, and in Portsmouth is at Bullseye Pharmacy, and it's at my one of my guy that owns this under the fire station that fixes the phone. You can get them there. If you have sunfly bites, guys, this is the product to use. It's selling Dominica. I think I'm gonna drop the price because it's kind of very expensive because of customs, but I'm willing to take a loss for my customers and drop the price because we have a sunfly problem in Dominica, and the black spots that on your feet, this can remove it, right? And coming back to the sunscreen, it took me a couple of years to do this. And the FDA said, we never had to do a research for sunscreen and cannabis before. But COVID happened, right? And a lot of companies closed down, but the FDA never closed. So they have, everything working in my favor, You know what I mean? I'm a blessed child, right? So all the research center was open, and more people start working on my product because we had the money.
But let me ask you, Elvis, why is it important to have cannabis in sunscreen?
Because I will tell you why. Because when you go in the sun, right, the first thing your skin do is it's something like it gets inflammation, right? And we black people can get sunburn, but they never teach us that in school. We can get sunburn. We can get skin cancer, but they never teach us that, right? So on my research, we black folks have about 5% FPF already in our skin, right? Because we have dark skin. But we can still get sunburn. And our sun, and what I realized, the aloe vera can heal your skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the CBD is good for inflammation. When you get sunburn, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your skin inflammation, it gets swollen, and then it gets burst, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a sore. So what the FDA realized, they said, well, we're going to try it on 18 people and put them in the sun and see what happened. It fails 3 times because we I will tell you what happened. We also make it waterproof, right? So some of the darker skin people was being fined, and some of the lighter skin was being
Burn.
yeah, well burnt a little bit. So they said we have to change change the
Mixture.
well, not the mixture though, like because we before it was 50, right? So they said, well, we have to do a 30 because we realized the 30 work better on all kind of skin. So is I mean, is the hardest thing to do is to make FPF 30. Guys, look it up. FPF 30 is the hardest one to do. But because of the aloe vera and the CBD work so good in your skin, it come back perfect. So
Okay.
the idea say, well, we can approve this. But do you guys want 30 instead of 50? We said, well, why not? Because 30 is the hardest one to do. So we have an FDA approved sunscreen that's never been done by a Dominican.
Wow.
And this could have been
Congratulations.
and this could have made in Dominica at
Yep.
Ross University, right? Because
Yep.
it's the same business partner, it's the same doctor, there's the one who does all the research, and there's the one who put this together, the formulation.
Now, let me ask you as well, and Richie, I'm coming to you, but was this also the product? Because I read several of the articles that you sent me. Was this one of the products that you were concerned would not harm the coral reefs? And why was that
Yep.
important? Why is that important?
You talking to me or Richie?
Yes, Elvis.
So okay, because what happened now is a chemical they use because if you go to Antigua, I mean, I was thinking there's a problem in Dominica with coral reef and tourists because we don't have a tourist industry in Dominica.
No.
But if you go to Antigua, you see on the beach on the water have some kind of oily on it, and it's because of the sunscreen they use, the chemical they use on the sunscreen. Because not only this is chemical free, right? This is have no chemical in it. It's a plant-based sunscreen. It's never been done. So what happened now on a research showing that the coral reef are dying because of the chemical, the bleach they use
And the sunscreen.
on the sunscreen is killing the reefs, right? Because remember the reef is a living organ. I mean, they have life. They breathe, and the chemical they use is killing all the reef. So that's why Hawaii banned sunscreen. By the way, my sunscreen sell everywhere in Hawaii. And when they had the big fire in Hawaii, we sponsor the firefighters with this sunscreen because it's approved to sell in Hawaii. So we are making, guys. I wanted this to make in Dominica. This could be, forget about Dr. Jimmy. It could be Natural Islands. I mean, I would have
Nature
changed the name.
Yeah.
Nature Islands. Yeah, I would have changed the name, guys. And I mean, this is all my product, and all this will be making in Dominica. And first of all, people say about growing cannabis to export. Forget about export, guys. They will come. You build, they'll come.
They'll come, yeah.
We don't need to export no cannabis in Dominica.
Right.
Trust me, they will come. They come in Colorado. I'm in Colorado. I've been in Colorado for 27 years. Trust me, I see before cannabis, and I see Denver is the only state in America where the government gives back money to the locals, to the residents.
Wow.
They give back money, say, hey, we make too much money this year, so we're paying you guys back. Yes,
Imagine that.
They're building schools, they're building parks, right? I mean, they're building trains to go and take, and they're building bike path. Are you kidding me right now?
Right. And imagine this is $1 billion industry. We could have made it at least $1 million industry in Dominica.
As I said, we will not be needing any geothermal, what they call it. We will not need no generator. We will put we wouldn't need, guys. I am telling you, man, we are so behind. But
I wanna come back to you, Elvis, in a little while, so you can tell us more about the other companies you have created. But Richie, let me get your thoughts, and then we're gonna go over to the studio for the phone calls, and we're gonna take your comments. Facebook, keep the comments coming. I see them. I'm coming to take them in a minute. But Richie, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is our people need to wake up and get change. And realize that we are left behind. We are last in everything in our country, and demand for better. Because, man, if somebody came with this $1 million idea to you, $1 billion idea, I'm sorry, not $1 million, $1 billion idea to you, and then you shut them down and you try to sneak it in via other people means, you are wrong. And it's because they're not getting no direct benefit from this idea. That's why they don't want it. But I am advocating that people demand change. I'm advocating that people want better for themselves, want to empower yourself. I remember growing up and I'm seeing people have no ambition, no drive now. We used to be a proud people. We used to wake up in the morning and get up with a drive and an ambition to want to do for ourselves. Right now we're sitting back and laissez-faire, and we're just waiting for people to come and give us. We're waiting for people to come and give us. Ain't nobody coming and give you nothing. You have to want, but I was thinking the other day, I was saying, we under the 10 plagues that happened in Egypt.
We are under Egypt right now.
We suffer with sunfly. We don't have no light. Remember the plague had dark. The place was dark. We don't have no water to drink. What
King
what
Pharaoh
next?
is ruling. King Pharaoh. Blame King Pharaoh, okay? Let
Are
go.
Are we waiting till the firstborn of everybody in Dominica die for us to want to realize that we are suffering as a nation? Man.
Hey, Richie. The last time I go to Dominica, I couldn't find a lime. I got to beg for a lime. Are you kidding me right now? And Haitian, they have to sell me limes. Haitian.
Yeah, but no Dominican. It's so hard for a Dominican. It's a Dominican to go in the garden. It's Haitian that planting garden. Haitian that they rose in the marketplace selling. You hardly find a Dominican there. You hardly find a Dominican. Dominican has lost their drive.
Yeah, they've lost what has been lost in Dominica is the work ethic.
Yeah.
So we can't be mad at the Haitians when they come in and they take the jobs that we are not willing to do. Because if we're not willing to do it and somebody else comes in and takes the job, well, you can't really blame them and get mad at them, can you? Because you lack the work ethic to get the work done. But guys, hold your thoughts. Mute your mics for just a second. Let's go over to the studio. This is a fascinating conversation. And again, if you're just joining us, this is Roots Connections on Q95. We're speaking to Mr. Elvis Papi Edwards and Mr. Ricardo St. Amy, and we're talking about the way forward in the cannabis industry, because we've already explored that there have been over 20,000 missed opportunities for employment if we had simply gone along with the plan that Elvis had proposed to the government. And there is still a chance. We're still hopeful. The one thing we always have as Dominicans is hope. We are still hopeful that this will be an opportunity that Dominica can become a research center for cannabis and the importance of it. And again, we're not talking about, smoking marijuana and getting high, because we already see the consequences of this on many of our young men in Dominica. But we're talking about the inherent properties of this gift that we have, the land and the soil and the sunshine and the water to plant in abundance and to take advantage of the endless opportunities that could come from this industry. So Lambi, let me come over to you so you can give out the phone numbers in the studio, and then Facebook. Thank you so much. Keep the comments coming. I'm coming to you.
Good evening, Roots Connection Q. Taking your calls right now. The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. These are all local numbers. And the overseas number is 305-432-9624. Let me run this one more time. 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, local numbers, of course. The overseas number, 305-432-9624. Back to you, Simone.
Yes, thank you. And I want to say a very special thank you to Mr. Omar Monel for sending us an update on the Grambling State University. And I want to read the letter because I think it is important. So, Omar, thank you for sending this to me while we're doing the program. It says, "Dear student, Grambling State University values our relationship with Dominica. Due to our past rapport, Grambling State University has allowed the Dominica student accounts receivable balance to now exceed $3.1 million. Again, exceed $3.1 million from spring semester 2020 to spring semester 2023. We have provided extensions and payment plans to no avail. We understand the challenges Dominica had with COVID-19 over the last few years. However, GSU can no longer extend credit to Dominican students. We are providing Dominica one last opportunity for payment. Should we not receive payment, all Dominican students will not be allowed to register or move back into campus housing for spring semester 2024. And that is all in bolded text. We have respectfully asked the Ministry of Education to bring the Dominica student account receivable balance current. Contact your government regarding payments on your behalf. Below are contacts that you may use for assistant, and it lists permanent secretary, financial secretary, education liaison, and administrative officer. So you cannot fault the institution. You cannot fault the institution. They're trying to work with the students, but at the end of the day, a $3.1 million balance is substantial. So let us go ahead and jump on the Facebook Live. And Oma, again, thank you for that. Let's see who we have. Lorraine Del Sol, great to see you. Veronica Pascal. Peony Shirley says, good evening. I'm watching in St. Thomas. Good program. Thank you, Peony. Crispin Shillingford is watching from Baytown, Texas. Annette Phillip, always great to see you. My mom, Medina Sandhouse, is watching. Didi Esther, good evening, Dr. Simone and guests. Shout out to Lambi on the console. Crispin Shillingford wants you to know, Elvis, that he's wearing the white hoodie right now. So we talked about the cannabis hoodie, and he's wearing it right now. So that is excellent.
Nice.
Right? Veronica Pascal, very interesting program. And she also says more young people should listen. Absolutely. Rosie Felix, nice to see you. The black man kneeling on Dominican's neck is not interested in any project, investor, industry to empower people financially. Havis Badwell, good to see you. Didi Esther says, hard work and pushing oneself to the limits, knowing all the effort is going to pay off, is what drives an individual such as Elvis to succeed in life. So proud of you. Let's see. Havis says, whoa, $400 million a quarter. Papa Met, I know, Havis, you always have to throw in the Creole, right? Tina Bell, good evening. Stanley, informative. Havis, weed is considered taboo in Dominica. And he also says marijuana is taboo in Dominica. So I doubt that this government will do this. Didi, no serious business venture can be pursued under this corrupt regime. We need a change of leadership to move forward. And then Havis chimes in, if alcohol and cigarette are legal, why not marijuana? And don't use any of the three. He doesn't use any of the three. Let's see who else we have. You get Centillier, nice to see you. The administration is not interested in developing industries for our youth's development. Rosie also says, oh my God, the parents are all on mute. Absolutely. Nobody's talking about this current situation. Sandra Green, great to see you. Elvis and Richie, I feel your passion. Helena Etienne Leading, I'm not sure what that means, but thank you for being here. So guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for your contribution. Do you want to make any comments based on the Facebook comments, Elvis and Richie?
You missed one. There was one that said, so as a licensed insurance broker in the US.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, read it.
Would the cannabis show in my blood test for pharma exams, for life insurance exams.
Yes, good question,
I,
Havis.
am
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna answer that for Elvis.
Yeah.
The CBD section, the CBD is legal. The THC, that's the illegal banned substance. So if I can't, I'm not gonna say I know the law exactly specifically, but the CBD part of it is legal. So Elvis product is made from CBD and not the THC. So with that being said, it would not show up as an illegal substance in your blood. But then again, more research could be done on that aspect of it. But as far as my knowledge is, that's where I'm coming from.
Yes, and thank you for catching that question for us, Richie. Elvis, you wanted to add to that?
Yes, as I said, the sativa have a stronger THC, and if you smoke the sativa, you will fail your test. And I mean, although the indica have a higher CBD rate, but again, we remove every THC in our product. So that's why we can sell in Walmart. That's why we can sell in different stores or different states, because we have no THC in our product.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
that's
we
the legal side of it. Yes.
yeah.
Right, and Marshall has a question. Good evening, all. What does the law or constitution say about NGO leading such an industry? Anyone has any insight on this?
What do they mean by NGO?
A non-governmental organization?
Well, actually, we went in. My business plan was not. It will stay out of the government. We will pay the government tax that can benefit everybody, but it will be a private company, right? That it wouldn't be in government. It wouldn't fall under government. So it will be an NGO. So we would be paying very high tax, and again, we would be giving back to the government to give scholarships. Like right now, we would never have that situation with schools not getting paid, because that would have fall under our company to sponsor the students.
You know, I have something to say too.
Yes.
The government find it fit to give $7 million to World Creole Music Festival to keep their show. $7 million. Couldn't that money have been used to pay for them students and their debt at the school?
But Richie, forget about that. What about Burna Boy? How much we pay Burna Boy? How much we pay Burna Boy? Sometimes I really believe we are backwards in Dominica, and people are so quiet. And people are guys. What you guys? This is your future. This is your future. Let me tell you. When I leave Dominica 27 years ago, the reason I went to Antigua is because I went to carry fig, right? For 2 weeks, I could pay my passage in Antigua, right? Now you can hardly find farmers in Wesley that make $100 a month, Richie.
Yeah, but if you find a farmer in Wesley that making $100 a month, is one of them old school farmers, like we have Miss Palm and them people there, so or some Haitian people that's selling their product.
Richie, well, what in 20 years, what are we exporting? Antigua right now, Antigua need water. The Prime Minister and Gaston Brown is best friend. Antigua is dying right now. Antigua, you see how Dominica have no light? Antigua have no water. Okay, I'm talking to people in Antigua. Remember, in Antigua I grew up. So Antigua they have no water in Antigua. Can we get some big tour boats to sell water in Antigua?
Antigua selling water to Dominica, so do not get this confused.
Well, not only is Antigua selling water to Dominica, but keep in mind that Antigua also recently bought our plantains and used agro-processing, and now is making a huge profit out of plantain chips. So it just begs the question, what is the thought process in terms of, growing industries in Dominica where we're not still depending on the CBI for everything, the Citizen by Investment program, and what are the opportunities that we can still do? Because keep in mind, guys, that even if we're here talking about building our own economy, building our own industries, at some point, we will hit a roadblock if the government is not interested in pushing these plans forward, as in the case of Elvis, because Elvis, you got a yes from the government and that was it? Nothing else was done?
Nothing. Let me tell you, right? The government sent me to Madaya to open a company. So I have a cannabis company in Dominica. You know what I mean? We registered a company. The government told me to go meet my dyer, she's a lawyer, to open a company in Dominica, and it's because he was ready to go. He gave us, we get a yes. All we have to do is send the laws to pass in Parliament. So when we go back to Denver, we went to the lawyers and we draw up the law. All they had to do is just bring the law to Parliament and passed it. Everything was done. We did all the work for them. All they have to do is go to the Parliament and pass the guys. As again, if every Dominican want to see it, I can have it available on the Richie website. I can just read through it, guys. You can just read through it and look at the date, and now you guys will cry because everything was in there. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we paid the lawyer, we paid everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Yes, go ahead, Richie.
But our people do not want to see the next man rise. It's like okay, for instance, the other I listened to a lot of the Prime Minister's lives. So because I like listening to it because I get information from it. When he spoke, he was like, they want to do all these industries, but it's all coming in under the government. No private institution, no private person is opening any business. And if you have a private business now that is open, they're trying to shut you down by giving you.
Richie, hold that thought. Let's take the phone call. Don't forget what you were saying. If you have a business, they're trying to shut you down. So hold that thought. Let's take the call because you're right.
Good evening, caller. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, please, with your call. Caller, are you paying attention? Please go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Richie. They're trying to shut you down.
Yeah, they're trying to shut you down as far as giving you LPOs, giving you payment letters, and they don't ever honor these payment letters. You have to go years and years and years and months asking for your money, and you never get it. Why is that? Why are we allowing ourselves to suffer through these kind of things?
Richie, I want to say the government is planting cannabis, but they planted it secretly. You can't run a business. You can't do a business secretly. You have to get everybody involved. It will. Trust me. It will end bad.
Let me tell you, Elvis, you're so right. Because in preparation for this program, there are tons of people who love to know what is the next topic coming up. And I sent the flyer to my broadcast list on WhatsApp. And someone reached out to me. I won't call her name or the person's name in the government. She told me. And she said, oh, it's interesting that you're doing this program. Reach out to this guy because I know that they're working on something. I reached out to the guy. He was very cordial. He said, hi, Simone, thank you for reaching out to us. But it's not yet in the planning stage. So I sent her the response. He sends me. And she said, interesting. So you're right. They're doing things secretly. And when you do things secretly, it begs the question, well, are you doing it secretly because you only want a certain set of people to benefit? What is the point of doing a secret industry surrounding cannabis?
Cannabis.
So she had nothing else to say.
Because that's what they do. They I'm telling you, I sit with those guys. I know how they operate. They want to do in a sector, and they don't want nobody to benefit. They want cannabis is something that everyone benefits because if it will be like the passport, right? Only few sell passport, and only few you can go around Roswell, and see who is the passport sellers. What car they're driving, and see this guy sells passport. You don't want cannabis to come like that.
Yes, hold on. Let's take a call real quick. We're coming back.
Good evening, caller. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, please.
First up, I want to say thank you to Dr. Simone for the program and to your guests.
Thank you.
Very educational. I learned a lot. I didn't even know. I'm an environmentalist, and I didn't even know about the effects of the sunscreen on the wrist. So thank you for sharing the information. I'll try to be brief and succinct in my points in regard to the discussion tonight. One thing I want to say, right, is that in Dominica, Kakarak had survived, right? You know the story of Kakarak?
Yep.
Yes.
Kakarak had survived, right? it seems that we're taking this approach. Even if Kakarot survives, we have enough to be last Kakarot in everything. We don't have to look too far. We look at Antigua right there with what they're doing with the cannabis.
Yep.
You know, we have everybody say latte. Let us use the land. Let us build the industry. And you know what the brother Eric said about if you build it, they will come. Yes, people will come for that. Imagine you having a whole green cannabis therapy. People coming down to Dominica for conferences on cannabis, the best cannabis in the world. You know what I mean? But our mentality has to change in regards to the smoking thing, because that is what they're using. They're using that as an excuse, right, to be afraid to develop it. But we already passed that, and we really know that smoking is not the only thing we focus on. Yes, you're going to have recreational users. You're going to have people that want to come to Dominica to burn their little ganja, and that's okay. That's their choice. But that's not what we focus on. If we want all the benefits, not just the smoking, the medicinal, and oh my God, the opportunities we will have. And you know what? I like how the conversation is going in terms of being hopeful, right? Because I like that. Because Dominica still has a unique opportunity to own our tourist product. Like not in other countries like Jamaica, where they don't own it, it's foreigners that owning it. We have an opportunity here for us to own these industries, to give people jobs. So thank you very much. I hope that we as a people can change and really listen to all the research and the examples that are going on, because we like to follow America, but we doesn't take pages out. We like to follow the politics and the Donald Trump and Joe Biden. But let us look at the examples that the brother mentioned, Eric, Colorado. Oh my God, $1 billion industry. All that things are happening there.
By the way, Elvis.
Good night.
Yes. Thank you, caller, for that important contribution. Do we have a call, Lambi?
Yes, we do. Caller, please go ahead.
Yes, Lambi. I don't know what happened. It seemed like I had a breaking up a while ago. Are you hearing me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, Lambi, thank you for the program and your guests, Miss Mathieu and everybody.
Yes.
Okay, I really impressed of the young man speaking. I want to tell him to give up. It's not an easy road in Dominica.
No, man.
There is so many things we can do in Dominica to make money, because right now a pound of spice in Dominica is like $40. A pound of cocoa is like $20-something, and most of those things we imported it from Grenada. Presently now, there are few people that have spice, but at the cocoa, and there is so much industry we can use, and so many products making, but the government and the people not really ready. And I want to tell the young man from Wesley there, the Wesley leave 20 years ago is a different climate now. You have a really tough fight ahead. You have the oppressed from the government side, you have the oppressed from the middle class, and then you still have the oppressed from the poor citizens. Because Dominica have a high level of jealousy and people don't want to see you make it. I do impressed of everything you're saying, but I think maybe out there a little too long, you maybe don't know what is happening. We have a very uncivilized society to deal with when it comes to business. I do business, I sell, I make local products, and I can tell it's a very difficult thing amongst your own people. If you look at Roseau, you find more foreigners is taking over the street of Roseau. For instance, look at the little vendors at the bayfront who sell for the tourists. You have the peak time for those people is in July, August, and those times when the French people come in, and you see them move all of them at the bayfront. But you see other foreign vendors all over Roseau. And the kind of bad mouth, our people will bad mouth your little business. It's not as you think, you know. I appreciate your spirit, but it's not easy. So it's a very tough, difficult thing. You know, there is some money in the aid bank, the small business people do get in it, and it's there for small business. So I mean, I know your feelings, but it's not as you're thinking. And I'm just sorry for Dominica. I mean, I'm here, I'm trying my best, but it's not that easy. You can ask any other body, you know. As one of the guy just on the radio there. We don't want to see one another move on, and that is one of our biggest problems. You know, we had a lot of bakeries in Dominica, black man at bakeries in Roseau. They're baking 120 bags of flour. Take the little loan and we badmouth these guys' bakery until it closed down. I wouldn't go into detail. I'm telling you, Dominica have a high level of jealousy and fight down. And it's the very same people that struggling, the people that on the same roadside hustling like you. They will say you're selling dead people. If you give them a chance, have a good night.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Carla. And the one thing we will never lose is hope.
Yep.
The one thing we will never lose is hope, because again, both of our callers alluded to it, and we're grateful for their contribution. But we have to be hopeful. We cannot just sit on our hands and say, and finibat. I know that has been an expression going around Dominica for a while now, that it is all over, it is done, it is finished. But where we have life, we have hope, and we can create opportunities, we can face the challenges, and we can push forward for change on the political level, and push forward for change on the economic level, so we can advance Dominica. Richie, Elvis, you wanted to make a contribution?
Yes, and every empire fall, Rome fall, even Iraq fall. Okay, so I know that no government cannot lead forever. Okay, and I know Dominica soon come. Soon come. I am telling you, we have a guy in Linton and we have a guy in Fountain, and we even have an opposition on the other side. They are willing to make changes. Okay, so do not worry, it's coming. You cannot stop change. It will take time, but you cannot stop change. Ask Hitler, and he will tell you in his day. Okay.
Yes, another call coming in, and then Richie, over to you.
Good evening, caller. Thanks for being there. Go ahead, please.
Hi, greetings, Lambi. Greetings, Simone.
Greetings, Doc.
Greetings.
Greetings, Doc.
Greetings to Elvis, too.
Thank you.
Elvis, this is Dr. IP.
Wow. Actually, IP, you should be on tonight, IP.
He was on last time. He rested.
That's okay. It's really good to hear you on. And I mean, it's very encouraging to hear you there still tonight and know that you're still concerned about our fate down here vis-a-vis the cannabis.
Thank you.
I just wanted to endorse most of what you said, but I just wanted to add something to really help the listeners to understand the extent of what I would call the disenfranchisement of Dominican by the failure of this government to do better when it came to the whole cannabis industry and agriculture and all of that. Because I don't think many people know that, like you, I did apply for a license to grow cannabis for research purposes. Mm-hmm. And because given what I know, that there's another potential benefit of using cannabis for chronic non-communicable diseases like diabetes and hypertension, because as you outlined, the anti-inflammatory aspects of it. So, and also it doesn't necessarily mean using it in its processed form, because when you use cannabis in its green form naturally, you hardly have any active THC in it, because the active THC comes, as you know, from heating the plant. And when you use the plant green, like the same way you use cabbage or lettuce, the THC level is so low that you don't get high either. Now, the research I was interested in doing was to use it, let people use the green cannabis without any processing to see the extent, the effect it would have on their pharmaceutical bills for the hypertension and diabetes. Because the medical information and the research would suggest that if you supplemented your treatment for diabetes or hypertension or cancer or any of these things with raw cannabis that you could grow in your yard, your 5 trees or whatever trees they say you can grow. The thing is that it could halve the medical bills of most people, maybe within 3 to 6 months. And so I just wanted to mention that in addition to everything else I heard, to really demonstrate to the listeners the degree to which I think it's really, unconscionable to know that so much could have been done as you demonstrated, and so little is still being done, and the potential damage and hurt that's being caused to even the elderly people who don't want to see or hear anything about cannabis, but by them just using raw cannabis buds on a daily basis, it could cut the money that's now being spent that cannot even be found to buy medication for hypertension and diabetes. So I just thought I'd just add that to the discussion, and hope that maybe, I don't know if I'm as optimistic as you, but let's hope for the best.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. IP. Thank you for adding to the conversation. And again, highlighting the missed opportunities. But, towards the end of the program, we're going to talk about the way forward, because, again, stressing on the importance of hope. But Elvis, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, again, here we have a doctor qualified to do research. I'm not no doctor, but IP is a doctor, and you don't have to go far, right? All IP need is a little assistance. And just give him maybe 5 acres of land and a little assistance. Say, IP, let's see what you can do.
Right.
And we will help you. See if you can save 10 lives, right?
Absolutely.
Right
and
now,
the reduction in the cost of medicine.
But not even that. I'm hearing the hospital don't even have a plaster, right? And most of the people that have diabetes don't have medication. IP could have wiped that out in 1 month.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another call. Lammy, let's take the call, please.
Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Caller, please go ahead.
Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Very great program. I just want to call and thank. Hold on a minute. Let me mute my thingy. One moment. I just want to call and thank Elvis publicly. My name is Deborah, and to follow up on what Dr. IP said, with my thank you to Elvis. Elvis is my go-to guy when I have anything going on. So in 2021, I had a surgery, and I called Elvis, and I told Elvis the nature of the surgery, and Elvis said, I have something for you. And Elvis introduced me to CBD products. So whenever it is I have anything going on, I will ask Elvis, what do you have for me? I will tell him the problem, you send something across, and
it's true.
The After Sun has advertising there. Sometimes I call him and we laugh about it, because sometimes I tell him, Elvis, I have that thing on me from head, so it's from the top of my head down to the sole of my feet. If I have a pain and I put that thing, rest assured that it takes care of the pain. I was driving home from work 2 days ago, and I called him and I said, Elvis, I woke up with a pain, and I put that thing and I went to work. And I am now thinking, I am asking myself, where did the pain go? So I just want to tell you, Elvis, thank you publicly for everything you've been doing for me. And I just want to recommend your product, especially the After Sun. I've used it. My family has used it. Great product. And people patronize that product. You will not regret it. You can put it in your hair, put it on your face when you're going out in the morning.
Yep.
When you come out in Dominicans, it's great for you, because Dominica is always hot and full of sun. That is a great go-to product. Okay? Great product, great program, guys, and have a great.
Yes, thank you. And before I come to your comments, guys, we get contributions to this program from every source. So we have here, let's see, make sure I read this right. Brendan Roberts from Vegas is the #1 marijuana planter in Canada. I'm going to repeat that. Brendan Roberts from Vegas is the #1 marijuana planter in Canada, and he was a guest on JL Joseph Live. So we are very grateful for this conversation. So we can already see right? All the elements that could be put in place to advance this industry. Here we have Brendan, we have Elvis, we have Dr. IP, and that is just three names that we are shooting off right now during the program. Think of everybody else who's involved in some way in this industry and think of the impact it could have on Dominica. Elvis, go ahead.
Let me tell you, right? I went home in 2021. You know, in Karibishi, there is so much expert in growing marijuana. Those little boys, they're better than me. They took me to a ganja farm, and I was shocked to see the kind of
production they're doing.
I was like, guys, you guys could be millionaires. You guys need sponsors by the government to buy what you guys selling and put it in something and produce something like this. And they said, oh, this is for Guadeloupe. And I was like, what? The back door, you know what I mean? That is for Guadeloupe. And I was like, what? I was like, this is crazy. Crazy. We have so much young people that is export and planting. They plant under the moon, they plant under certain weather condition, and those guys, they know more than me. And I'm making the product. I mean, it's crazy.
Now think if there was a legal way for you to work with them. Richie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was about to say, so think about that. If they was planting the weed and selling it to Elvis, where now they could generate a legal money instead of having to cross no water, safe on their side. They'd have no gun, no violence, no nothing, and you're making a good income. But
guys, I'm not lying, right? I'm telling you right now, we spend $500,000 US, my investor, on this product. That could be invest in Dominica to buy the cannabis from the local plants, because we were willing to move to Dominica with our factory, right? So the money we buying, the product we buying, right? The raw products, right? We could have paid for Dominica. Let me tell you, this government needs to go, okay?
Right. Let's take another call real quick. And then, guys, we're going to come back and talk about the way forward.
Sorry about that. Good evening, caller. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Good evening to the panel.
Good evening.
Wonderful program. I joined late, but let me just say that the whole question of the cannabis industry is totally underrated in Dominica.
Very.
The projection for the cannabis industry is over 127 billion by 2024, 2025. And I'm saying that if Dominica can just position itself to get 1 billion from that 127 billion projection, that would do us good. My point is, Dominica have had a long history of growing cannabis. It was illegal, but we have a long history. We have people like this is Mal Esprit, who was a fortress of knowledge on growing cannabis to the extent that Brother Marshall Emmanuel, who is the lead researcher and in charge of cannabis research at UWI Canada, is a Dominican from whom we can tap and get information to build that industry from a purely scientific posture. Here it is, somebody brought, I think Mr. Linton visited Colorado somewhere in 20.
Me.
Yes, he visited Elvis.
Yep.
And I was instrumental in connecting Mr. Linton to a Ethiopian friend of mine, Mel Tawahadi, who visited because he had contributed over his organization, an organization he's a part of, donated relief supplies in excess of $1 million.
I know Mel very well.
And handing over. And they took, I think Elvis was involved too in the visit, and they took Mr. Linton to the cutting edge of cannabis industry in Colorado, the cutting edge.
Yep.
And we had those links that we could build relations with. And then those in authority laughed at Mr. Linton and said, you just go to Colorado and a man puff in your face and you come talking about cannabis industry. And that is where we are, the heights of ignorance. And then we say that, oh, let them grow free plants. $1 billion industry, and we're thinking about free plants and people 28 grams. We are so excited in this country. Here's an opportunity. Another thing that came after Hurricane Maria. There was a friend of mine, Dr. Baron, who was interested in starting to do some research on the hemp plant with farmers. And simply because the laws governing cannabis are the same laws governing hemp, that pilot project could not even be done. The person was willing to provide chainsaws and all the material to clear the land and assist with a pilot project. There are so many industrial applications with the hemp plant that all the young men we have sitting around, they can get busy and get occupied and get to have a future and a Dominica with hope. We continue to think that selling a passport is the only way out for us. And it's just so sad that we have those opportunities. Dr. Marshall, take the man as our main consultant to lead the setting up of a structure. You have Elvis. And quite apart from that, there are local underground entrepreneurs that are making magnificent products. I attended a session where I listened to testimonials from a little girl that was diagnosed with cancer, and she was condemned to death. And a wonderful Dominican woman who made those products administered it to that child, and that child gave a testimony that brought tears to the eyes of those who were present. And a number of other people who benefited from the products that were being made by a local Dominican. We have people there with the knowledge already. All they need is the support. And instead of supporting these people, we're wasting money in rum and fuel. Elvis, continue to be hopeful, continue to be positive, and God will make a way for our Dominican.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I'm happy we keep going back to the CBI, guys, because, here we see all these investments in hotels. What about taking some of that money and investing in the cannabis industry, right? It seems like there's always money for what the government wants to do when it favors them. But what about investing some of that CBI money into cannabis? Go ahead, Elvis, and then coming to you.
I come to the conclusion that this government doesn't want to see people doing good. They want to lead a poor nation where you beg, where they ask for everything. Where it's crazy because here I am. I never went to college. I never went to high school. And if I can do this, man, Dominica have so much doctors and lawyers, so many people that are highly educated. Dominica should be the crop. By the way, we can't use Nature Island anymore. St. Lucia take it from us. So what? So I would St. Lucia. Yeah. If you look at St. Lucia, just one for the Nature Island of the Caribbean. So forget about nature. We are not nature anymore. So right now we are cataract. We are CBI. CBI. Actually, we should remove the parrot and put CBI.
CBI, yeah, for real.
Because I feel bad. I feel bad for the parrot because the parrot is so innocent. We should remove the parrot and put a Zandoli. Something. I'm telling you, let's put a Zandoli because I'm telling you, remove the parrot and put a Zandoli or Abolo, something, because that's where we're heading.
Yeah, thank you, Richie. Your thoughts? Well, and then we have some more comments on Facebook, but we must talk about the way forward before we end.
Well, I was about to say the way forward, but it's just so jovial that I mean I'm laughing here, but it's a serious matter where we need to really think about the bigger picture. Our people are really in need of some form of investment, some form of where they can generate and generate something on their own and not depend on a person to keep on giving them and giving them and giving them. I'm tired of saying that same thing, man. It's like we are in need to take up our own initiative, pick up yourselves and go about and do something. That's the way forward for me. Get up and do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And Elvis, so ending with hope, always ending with hope, especially for our young people. What is the way forward that we can still benefit from this billion-dollar cannabis industry? And I want to thank the callers and everybody else who made a contribution in terms of offering ideas and suggestions as well.
Our way forward. Dominica, I am telling you, I am here. I am not giving up. our way forward is getting this government out of power because they are free blind mice. See how they run. I don't know where they're running, but you cannot lead a blind mice to the way forward. You got to move them and put somebody that can see and know where they're going. This government is over. Actually, this government is tired. They just need to move and let people that can do things for the country lead, because they cannot lead anymore. They are tired. They are out of vision. They are out of ideas. They are out of everything. In 20 years, if you haven't done anything in 20 years, what can you do in the next 5 years? What can you do in the next 2 years? Nothing. All we do is building hotel and selling passport. Guess what? The passport is dead. Now hotel is dead. So guess what? We have not everything that started cannot finish. So we can have a lot of halfway built building in Dominica.
The passports are sold to build the hotels or given away really to build the hotels, because I'm sure you're aware that the Kapinski, what is that, the Moroccan hotel? I think they gave away 300 passports for that development.
Yeah, but Richie,
and it still hasn't been done.
Richie, but it never have been full. That Kapinski hotel have never been 95% full. Never been since it built. Never been.
It will never be.
It will never be.
Yeah, and it still begs the question: if all these hotels, how many of these hotels have full capacity at any point in time?
None.
What time of the year do we see full capacity at all the hotels that we're building in Dominica?
I'm telling you, Lennox Linton, Fontaine, they can lead this country. Even the opposition, they can lead this country to where we need to go. Forget about this party. They are dead. They are blind. They have no ideas. They're not going nowhere. And
and it still begs the question, because despite our limitations, despite everything that we do not have access, because there doesn't seem to be government support for initiatives such as this, within the limitations, but with embracing technology, can we see creating more opportunities for Dominicans in Dominica? I'm just always hopeful and always looking for a way to get around an obstacle to still create opportunities. I'm thinking with technology, with all the options we have, and I know Elvis, that you do sell some of your product in Dominica, and we're grateful for that. But is there any other things we can do, especially to give young people an opportunity with this?
You realize we don't have no water and light, right?
Yeah,
okay then. So how come we don't have the basic things to create a product? To create this product, you need power, because you need.
You're right.
And if we don't have the basic things, guys, you realize we moved 20 years backwards, 30 years backwards right now. Yeah. Dominica, where Dominica is right now is 25 years. Because actually, growing up 25 years ago, we never had so much light, right?
No. Don't lie on Dominica. We move about 40 years back, because I 40, and it's when it was coming out of Kangle and Bullseye them times.
Bullseye. Yes.
And kerosene lamp. I remember them things. So
yes.
We used to have coals to heat up our ironing comb and all kind of things like that. And that is the level we're going back to currently right now.
Yeah,
it's true.
And you're right, Elvis, because you cannot be in the middle of making a product and next thing you have to say, "Oh, damn, like take light."
Take light.
Wow.
I mean, let me tell you, right? I had a friend call me 2 days ago, and she said that she couldn't sleep last night. I said, "Why?" Because Dominic take light and there's no fan, and the sunfly is biting them in the house, so you can't even sleep. People going crazy in their homes, because there's no. I mean, Dominica don't have no AC, so they use a fan at nighttime, right? So when there's no fan, I mean, and what about the elders? The elders.
Yes.
But how are schools functioning in an internet age now, when you don't even know when they're gonna take light? You're in a village of let's say from Wesley to Portsmouth, you take light. How many schools get affected? No internet. How many schools have backup generators to provide the internet for the children and them to be able to utilize that kind of thing? Majority, mostly none. So again, we in the internet age and our children are being left behind. Left behind, no power. Something needs to be done.
Guys, I think we should have we should have this program every once a month, twice. I don't care.
Yes.
I'm available.
Yes.
I can bring some guesses for you
Yes.
guys. My business partners, even that Simone, that doctor is she can. I can give you. I mean, I think you can email her.
Yes.
I would like her to come in with a program and tell people what the cannabis can do.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for that offer, Elvis, because we all know that the government and their agents listen to Q95. So I'm always inspired to do these programs because I'm thinking maybe something will click. Something will click and somebody will say, you know what, let me go back and look at that proposal Elvis had given us back in 2018 and let's see what we can do about this to bring this into life. Richie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna see if I hope Elvis had his thing protected so that nobody can infringe on his stuff.
They don't steal that, right, Elvis?
Let me tell you, it's not their own to steal it. If they use it, it will fail. I saw the McIntyre, whatever they building some kind of resort. Trust me, as I said, you cannot build a resort without the people. You cannot plant without the people. People have to be involved. It'll be a secret bay. It'll be another secret bay, okay? And we can have 2 secret bay in Dominica. There's only one, under by the beach. You can have a secret bay in the mountain.
It'll be secret mountain, man. It'll be secret mountain.
It must be secret mountain. You can't have 2 secret bays, sir. You can't. You know what I mean?
Right,
People
right.
will, yeah. Anyway.
But let's take some comments on Facebook, and then guys, I'm gonna come to you for your final thoughts. But thank you so much again for this very engaging and empowering conversation. Deb Prince said, after sun is my go-to product for skin repair. Fabulous product.
Yes,
Huguette says, I saw cannabis in St. Croix. I bought one to show to my husband, Didi Esther. To Elvis' point, due to the widespread destruction of our environment and total disregard for our resources by this incompetent regime passing as government, the lakes and rivers are now drying up. So that window of opportunity to ship water overseas is closed. Carlos Charles, great to see you, Carlos. Good discussion, guys. Thanks, Doc, for a good program as always and excellent points by your guest. Thanks, Carlos. Rosie, she says, Las Cacarat. Yes, indeed, we are. And then she says, the plants are for the healing and property of the nation. You get, when the big boys are ready to reveal their industry, you then will have a big law passed in parliament to sell and ship cannabis. Didi Skerritt's paranoia has him thinking NGOs are out to overthrow him. So regardless of what the law says in this regard, it matters not to Skerritt. Veronica, good, open a way for us Dominicans. Absolutely, that's what we're all about. Let's take something from somebody we haven't heard from. Judith Cochran, great to see you. Once you mentioned Linton, a fountain, a thing will take them. Well, we're from Dominica, so we know exactly what she's talking about. Jackie Joseph, I need more information on cannabis. Didi, the dysfunctional regime don't want an intelligent nation. They want a public just smart enough to pay taxes and dumb enough to keep voting, and for the corrupt politicians passing as government. Kimi Alcindor, good to have you on. I'm late. Could you please pin the name of the product, the sunscreen? Yes, so Kimi wants to know the name of the sunscreen. I don't know if you have access to be able to post it, but if you tell it to me, I will go ahead and type it up.
The website is Dr. Jimmy's.
Dr. Jimmy's.
Yeah, it's actually, you can get it in Kalibishi by Austria. You can get it in a Bullseye Pharmacy. You can get it in Wesley by the Gulf. And there is other place that sell it in other pharmacy in Roseau, but the name doesn't come right now. But trust me, when you see this, you will never.
Okay, let me type in the name. So it's Doctor spelled out, Dr. DOCTOR, Jimmy Gimmy.
No, Jimmy JIMMS.
Yes, JIMMYS.
Yes.
.com. So for our listeners on Q95, if you're interested in Elvis products. Again, it is www.Dr. DOCTORJIMMYS.com.
Yeah.
That is a good place to start in terms of looking at Elvis's products. And of course, if you're on Facebook, I have typed it in the comments. So one more time, www.DOCTORJIMMYS.com. And on that website, Elvis, is there some contact information if anyone wants to get in touch with you? Because I think it's important.
Yeah. I mean, everybody can find me on Facebook or on LinkedIn. But okay, so the After Sun, right? What's good about this product? It have 800 milligrams of CBD, and so it's good for pain, right? So it's not good only for moisturizing. It's good for like 8 different things, right? So if you have again, Dominica have a sunfly problem. When a sunfly bites you, it creates a bump, right? And then a black spot. My product can remove the black spot, also can heal your skin. This also some women, they have some black spots when they wear tights. This is good for the black spot on your tights, right? This product is also good for your hair. It's a natural. This is good for everything. And it's good for black spot under for pimples under your face. So it's like a moisturizer. You can use it day and night for smooth your skin, and also you can use it for pain.
What about eczema?
Yeah, actually, it's best for eczema for kids. It's good for kids. It's good for mosquito bites. It's good for pain, any kind of inflammation, any kind of pain, anything you have on your body. This can be used for it.
Yes, and if someone wants to get in touch with you, do you have an email address we can share that they can reach you on?
Yeah, I can give them my email address. Is elvispapi, PAPI 2000 at gmail.com.
2000 at gmail.com. And again, for our listeners on Q95, it is Elvis, ELVIS, Papi, PAPI 2000 at gmail.com. So Elvis Papi 2000 at gmail.com, because I am sure there are so many other people who would want to collaborate with you and see how we can move this process forward. Richie, over to you, your final thoughts and your contact information for anyone who wishes to get in touch with you. You're muted.
My final thought is let's support local and let us want better for ourselves, because without wanting better for yourself, you're gonna accept anything that comes your way. And people, let us fight for change. Let us fight for change. Give somebody else a chance to try and do something for our nation. Our nation has gone back 20 to 30 years backwards, and instead of going forward, we keep going back and digressing. So cannabis can be our way forward in bringing a good economy back to our country, bringing back productivity to our young people, making them feel important, and giving us hope. So thank you, Mr. Papi, for inviting me on with you, and Miss Simone as well. Thank you guys, and Q95, big up. So thank you guys again.
Yes. Thank you guys. And we want to thank everyone who joined us on Q95 Radio as well as on Facebook and YouTube. We have a comment from Gerald Vital, and he says the only way that Dominica will see the light at the end of the dark tunnel, where we won't say the first word, but Labour Party must go. So guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. Of course, this is Roots Connections on Q. I am Simone Mathieu, and we will continue to bring you the programs that inspire. We will continue to bring you the people and the movements and the events. Everything that is geared towards moving Dominica forward is what we will continue to focus on, and we will continue to focus on the opportunities to change and advance Dominica, and what we as Dominicans at home and abroad and friends of Dominican can all do to help in that effort. So again, we want to thank you for being here with us. Lambi, thank you for being on the console show.
Thank you, Lambi. Thank you.
in the background, as well as DJ Sean. We want to thank you. Thank you, Mr. G and the Q95 family for this opportunity. And again, as we continue to battle on so many other fronts, we will also continue to battle for economic empowerment for our Dominican brothers and sisters. So again, thank you for being here. And don't forget, if you want to share a project or anything that you as well are doing to move Dominica forward, you can always reach me at pushpast10@gmail.com. That is pushpast10@gmail.com. And if you're interested in seeing all the ways that we're moving Dominica forward, you can visit my website at pushpast10.com. You know, on Pushpast 10, we reach about 166,000 visitors a month. So if you're looking to grow your social visibility, you're a small business owner, you're looking to reach more customers, you're looking to branch out, you can send me an email at pushpast10@gmail.com, and we can see how we can work together. David Joseph, I missed you. You weren't here for the discussion, but again, if you missed any portion of the discussion, from tomorrow, you can log on to www.q95da.com and you will be able to catch the entire program. So again, q95da.com, you will be able to catch the entire program. So guys, again, thank you for being here. Elvis, I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm also looking forward to bringing in Mr. Adrian Bannis, who is another powerhouse, with Richie and you and everyone. As we build this network, we build this human capacity to move Dominica forward. So again, guys, thank you.
Thank you, guys. And again, we can change Dominica. I know we can, because guys, I am still here. IP said I have patience, and my name is Elvis, so you know.
You have energy.
You see, hey.
Elvis, I just purchased 2 of the lotions there right now on the line.
Oh, you see, by the way, guys, this is my cousin. I hope you guys, this is one family right here. You see my, Wesley people, one family. You know what I mean? Yes,
well, Dominica people say not your cousin too then.
Okay, fine, my cousin.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's see, Veronica Pascal. Thanks, Simone, for such a good program. Let's see who else. Didi, great program. So, guys, thank you for the comments on the Facebook Live, and thank you for the callers, and thank you for all our listeners and viewers. So, guys, have a good night. Until next time, take care.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.